Hello, you're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs. Whether you've played in a band or you're a fan of them, you probably know that everyone needs to get jobs between going on tours and making records. So this is where I get some of those stories. Joyce Manor have just released their new album, 40 Ounce to Fresno. It's excellent and it's full of those amazing hooks and lyrics that Barry Johnson and Joyce Manor do. This episode is supported by 2000 Trees Festival, taking place from the 6th to the 9th of July in Cheltenham, just a few hours away from London, where Idols, Jimmy Eat World, Thrice and Turnstile will be headlining. It's one of the biggest independent rock festivals in the UK, and there are so many good bands playing. Together Pangea, Kneecap, Mannequin Pussy, High Viz, who are releasing a new song this week. So many great bands. If you want to go but haven't got your ticket yet, you can get 10% off by using the voucher code 101POD. That's 101POD to get 10% off your ticket. That's saving you some cash that could be used well elsewhere. If you want to go to 2000 Trees Festival, one of the biggest independent rock festivals in the UK, you can get your money off. 101pod. You can see the full lineup and get your tickets from 2000treesfestival.co.uk. It's Barry Johnson from Joyce Manor. Go well. Cheers! You're not famous anymore. That kind of period of time when you're 17, 18, that's kind of a weird pivotal moment, right? Or pivotal period.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to identify what you're going to do. Everyone around you is talking about what they're going to do next.
I had little to no ambition. I probably pictured myself, best case scenario, becoming manager of a grocery store or something like that. And yeah, I just kind of cared about going to shows and going to parties and, listening to music. And then I knew I was going to have to make money somehow. And I didn't really feel like I had any, I wasn't going to go to school, and so I was kind of like, well, what can I do? I just thought hopefully maybe I'll become a bartender, but I know that can be kind of hard to get into. Yeah, either bartender or grocery store worker. I kind of pictured myself ending up there.
Was that the kind of, because I guess where you live informs so much of that kind of shit,
Sure.
and the people around you, because, that's what's in front of you. That's that's where the possibilities are. What was around you at the time? Was it that stuff?
What was around me? So I grew up in Torrance, which is Southern California. It's kind of it's inland from the beach, but it's kind of just like beachy sort of. There's not a lot going on. There's a Toyota, the car company Toyota. They had a factory there. There's some aerospace stuff nearby. So a lot of like kids I went to school with, their dad worked in aerospace, like defense, like Raytheon and shit like that. Didn't really think I had any particular talent. I didn't start writing songs till I was 17. So the very end of high school, I started writing songs, and they weren't very good. Like it just sounded like Operation Ivy ripoff kind of. And I eventually got better at it, but that was kind of years down the line. But yeah, I never had any ambitions of working in music or movies or anything, despite liking. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't even say I was like into movies. I liked watching The Simpsons. I liked, but yeah, I had no real ambitions.
Was that like growing up and like being around like punk in California? I guess I'm thinking like Offspring, entrepreneurial side of it. And, you saw Epitaph and Fat, you saw them starting their own shit, being pretty organized about it.
None of that felt like it was, it felt like it might as well have been on Mars. Like growing up in Torrance, like it was nowhere. I wasn't like rubbing elbows with people like that. You know what I mean? Like that was, I might as well have been growing up in Cleveland. Do you know what I mean? Like Torrance feels very separate from everything. And like no bands came to Torrance. Like, there was a couple bands from nearby, like San Pedro is near Torrance, and you got Mike Watt. You also have, Recess Records.
Yeah.
Which is like, Todd, Toys That Kill, and all that great stuff. So once I got a little older, I kind of became aware of the scene that was going on there, and they would throw house shows and stuff. I saw some great bands play this house in Pedro, but that was more kind of like my later, like just at the end of high school, early like college age stuff. So that actually was pretty eye-opening because I knew that like Toys That Kill went on tour and like they played fest and they'd like, been FYP'd, been to Europe and stuff, and they knew the Propaganda guys. I just knew they were doing real stuff, like, and that was inspiring because it's like, whoa, these guys are like from around here, and even at that stage, like they just seemed like, again, they didn't seem that ambitious. They were just kind of stoked to be doing it, and like, I think a lot of people have been doing it that long. Some people are like, oh, why don't you hang it up? Like you're never gonna make it. You know what I mean? But it wasn't really that much about making it as it was like getting to know people and setting up shows for other bands and having bands set up shows for you. So that was kind of my introduction to that world, and that was pretty huge.
I wonder, meeting someone like Todd and seeing that Recess Records world happening, did that give some kind of like shape to what you kind of saw yourself becoming?
Well, it fit for me because yeah, all those dudes work jobs. Like Sean Cole bartends and Chachi's like a longshoreman, and Jimmy does some kind of tech thing. But they also like go play. They get like flown out to do festivals and stuff. So yeah, it just seemed like it was the right amount of like, whoa, they're really doing it, but it's like a realistic life choice. Like I just pictured myself playing in bands. Like I could picture myself being in my 30s and 40s playing house shows. Like, and I was stoked on that. I was like, my love for music and punk in my early 20s was just all consuming, and I couldn't imagine a time in my life where I wasn't just all in on it, and it didn't require having to like make it or support myself through doing it. So there was nothing that could like stop you from doing it, because you go to work and then you gig and fucking hang out and write songs and stuff. And Toys That Kill are writing like great songs and going to work. You know what I mean? It doesn't speak to the quality of their music. It's like, oh yeah, we're this like okay band. They're a fucking great band. So yeah, that was pretty game changing for me.
And talking about bands to look up to and be like, you don't have to quote unquote make it, whatever that means, this kind of mythological thing. You look at a band like, look at Robert Pollard, look at GBV, and being like, that's
Yeah.
how you can be a band.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because the first Strokes headlining tour, Guided by Voices opened. Either Guided by Voices opened or the Strokes were opening for Guided by Voices, but the Strokes had blown up. And like, anyway, my point being, the Strokes then inspired the Killers, and then the Killers blew up like to actually be an arena band. And the Strokes were always like frustrated that it's like, why aren't we as big as the Killers? You know what I mean? I feel like we have the songs, like we're fucking killer live, just like they are, but we're not as big as the Killers. So you can always perceive yourself to be a failure. Guided by Voices are super influential to the Strokes and have, a million great songs and are a fucking amazing live band, but they never rose to the height of the Strokes. The Strokes never rose to the height of the Killers. So it's like they all could be perceived as either a failure or a success relative to whatever else. So I don't know, you can feel frustrated or grateful either way is what I mean to say. So we're playing at the Long Beach Arena. I'm stoked about it, but it makes me feel kind of weird because I never had ambitions like that. Like I never, like Matt Ebert, our bass player, saw his first show ever there. It was Bad Religion and Blink-182 at the Long Beach Arena back in like 2000 or something like that, or 99 or 2000. And I was asking him, like, when you were a little kid, did you kind of like fantasize about being up there one day? Like, when you're a kid watching sports, you're like, I want to be a professional athlete one day, like, or I want to be a professional soccer player, I want to be a professional baseball player, or like, I didn't even have that as a kid. Like when I would go see AFI or something, I wasn't like, that'll be me one day. Like, so it's really weird to be playing the Long Beach Arena. I just kind of feel in awe of it and grateful, and not really why aren't we more popular? You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty shocked that a pop punk band with blast beats that writes sub 20-minute records is playing an arena. That just all seems fucking crazy to me. So
What did Matt say when you asked him that question?
he said not really, no. He kind of didn't know. He's like, I don't remember, but I don't think so. I think like, and I kind of mean like, not like you wouldn't even maybe say it out loud, but part of you is kind of dreaming, oh, like I'm envisioning myself, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? Like I just didn't even think like I didn't want to be an astronaut. I didn't want to be the fucking president. You know what I mean? I didn't see this for myself, and it's very surprising.
Have you ever like gone through, I mean, yeah, I guess everyone does go through downtimes, doubting yourself or
Yeah, totally.
feeling not that cool?
Yeah, or just like a hack, like because people like fucking horrible music that is, so you think like, oh man, like people like my band, and then you just think like, maybe I'm a fucking hack songwriter, and the people who like it just don't have good taste, or whatever. Like, just there's some days where I don't think that we're very good, and there's other. I struggle with confidence issues sometimes. Yeah, always have. We work really, really hard to try to write good songs and to try to uh, maintain a level of quality over like numerous records. And yeah, when you care about something, and you're just having an off day where like, there's like a gray cloud over you or whatever, I just try not to look at my own work, because it's it's what um it's what I've dedicated my life to writing, the best songs I could possibly write. And some days it just feels like, wow, that's what you fucking came up with. Fucking Heart Tattoo, the song Heart, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, wow, what a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, but that's a piece of light. That's like someone famous said, the universal is in the specific. And it's
Yeah,
like,
cool. Well, yeah, I mean, like,
dude,
there's other days.
I got a heart tattoo.
Yeah, there's other days where I could hear that song and be like, I'm a fucking genius. Like, this song is like, it's like more Mark Hoppus than Mark Hoppus. Like, it just depends on my mood. So when I'm feeling kind of down or depressed or whatever, fucking grouchy or irritable or curmudgeon-y, I just try to not look at my own work and get down on it.
Mark Hoppus, have you spoken? Do you know each other? Fans of each other's music?
Yeah, we're fans. We're mutual fans. He likes the song Heart Tattoo, especially, which I just find like kind of crazy. But he's been kind towards other stuff too. On his radio show, he played our song 18, which everything we do is Blink-182 influenced, but Heart Tattoo is like, Jesus Christ, that is Blink-182 worship. So I do think it's kind of funny that he's like really into us worshiping his band.
When I heard "Think I'm Still in Love with You," I remember the first thing I thought when you sang the line, "All I do is hang around." I was like, that put me in the place of asking these kinds of questions years ago.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, being unemployed between tours is not good for me, and I get into depressive episodes, and so I usually try to find a job between tours. And so I've had a bunch of jobs, which I think is what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, this is the play. You see that segue?
You got it. We got us there. Yeah. One of the most interesting jobs I had, which only lasted a day, it was one of the most fucked up days of my life, actually. I worked at a restaurant called Mimi's Cafe for years. And this is like during the very beginning of Joyce Manor, like the folk punk era, all the way through the second record. So I wrote all the first record. I wrote a lot of it at work. Like I'd run to the back and I have to call my own number to leave a voicemail of like, Orange Julius or 21st Dead Rats. Yeah, like I would be neglecting my work duties in order to do that. And like people are like, what the fuck are you doing? Where have you been? And then I'd like revise it and I'd have to go do it again. And yeah.
Lyrics or melody?
Usually I start with melody almost always. So, but usually they have lyrics attached to them. There's kind of scrap lyrics, and my better songs, I usually stick with the scratch lyrics that come with the melody are good on a lot of my better songs. A Constant Headache came just fully formed, melody and lyrics. I wrote it in like 5 minutes. But yeah, I wrote a bunch of some of my favorite Joyce Manor songs just while waiting tables. And I was working there and I waited on this guy called Curly, and he had this like kind of steampunk mustache, and he's this older guy, and he would always come in with these like younger babes. And I actually wasn't waiting on him. A friend of mine was waiting on him. And he's like, dude, check it out. That guy just tipped me with 2 joints and cash. Like but he left 2 joints like in the book. He's like, I don't smoke weed. Do you want them? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I was like, that's fucking crazy. Why is he just, this is before like medical marijuana. This is before recreational marijuana. It's like pretty wild ass thing to do. Like just leave 2 joints as a tip. And I was like, what's up with that? And he's like, oh, he grows weed for medical marijuana, which you could only get with like a prescription back then or a doctor's note, you know? So he's grown it, but it was federally illegal. So it was like kind of sketchy. And I was like, oh, crazy. He's like, yeah, he offered me a job. It pays like, I think it was like $15 an hour, which was a lot back then, to trim weed. And I was like, oh, are you going to do it? And he's like, no, I'm waiting tables here and I'm in school. I don't have time. And I was like, do you care if I call him? Like, I'll do it. I want to do it. And he's like, yeah, sure, I guess. So I just called this guy. I was like, yeah, I waited on you the other day. Like you tipped me some joints. I heard you're like hiring someone to trim weed. And he's like, yeah, man, come by. So I go to this weird industrial part of Long Beach that's like kind of sketchy. It's like kind of late at night and I have to like go in the back and he's kind of like, was anybody following you? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I took the bus over there anyway. So I walked up and he's like, okay, cool. And then we talked for a little bit. He kind of shows me about trimming weed. And then he's like, do you like tequila? And I was like, yeah, for sure I do. And then so like me and this like old dude and his like young girlfriend, hippie girlfriend are just like sitting around kind of talking. And it's kind of a weird scene. And I'm kind of just sipping tequila with him. And he's like pouring me all these different tequilas and getting kind of drunk. And then I don't really smoke a ton of weed. I'm not that good at smoking weed. Like it kind of, it turns me weird, but I don't want him to know. I want to think I'm cool. So he's like, do you want to smoke some of this like crazy weed, medical fucking weed, which it wasn't around as much back then. You would get it, but it wasn't like it is now where the fucking people are doing dabs and shit. So he's got this crazy medical weed and I'm like, yeah, sure. And I hit it and then I just kind of become totally useless. And I'm just like really bugged out, like looking at this guy that's all old and then looking at his like hippie babe girlfriend and then just looking back at him. And I'm just like, I got to get out of here. I was like, I got to go. And he's like, for sure, man. Well, let me know when you want to come back. And I was like, okay. And he didn't really teach me anything about trimming weed. He like showed me how to do it once and was just like, you want some tequila? It's like, he just wanted to hang out kind of. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. And I go, I'm waiting for the bus. But I'm sitting there and I'm the only person around and I'm really stoned and I'm kind of drunk. And he didn't pay me. He just gave me a bunch of weed. So I have a backpack full of weed. And this is before, like I said, it's before recreational. I'm like kind of sketched out to have all this weed. And I'm just sitting there and every car that drives by is a cop car. And I'm just like, fuck, this is weird. Like, should I just ditch this weed? Like, I don't want to get like busted for having like a sellable amount of weed. And I'm kind of like a little sketched out. I'm like, you're just high. Don't worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. And then another cop car goes by. And then another cop car goes by. And I'm just like, this is so fucking weird, man. And then this car pulls up and they roll down their window and they're like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. But I'm like, nah, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, you're sure you're okay? And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm okay. And he's like, you're sure you're okay? And I was like, I'm fucking just waiting for the bus, man. Like, yeah, I'm okay. Okay. So he drives and like does a U-turn and kind of drives by and looks at me and drives by and I'm just like, I'm so fucking sketched out. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And then I have headphones in and I'm just kind of like, it's cool. You're just high. That's normal. What just happened? You're just high. I'm like, that's not fucking normal. That was so weird. And then I kind of sense something behind me. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that? And so I take out my headphones and it's this person wearing a burqa. And I can just see their eyes. And they're saying, do you want some head? Do you want some head? Do you want some head? And I'm just like, get the fuck away from me. What the fuck is going on? And I just take off running. And I just run like out of this industrial area. Like I ran probably like a mile or so, like towards home. And then I was like in a more populated area. And then I just waited for the bus. And I put it together later what happened. So this area is kind of like near like it's an industrial zone, but there's kind of a truck stop. And it is a spot for prostitution. I gathered later, there's like truckers around there and people are getting suck jobs and stuff. And those are the only people hanging around. That's why there's cops patrolling, looking for prostitution happening. And I was like solicited by a prostitute that's like in camouflage because of cops. And I have no idea what's going on. I'm there to like learn how to trim weed. And I just like totally blew it. But I just never went back. I was like so scarring. But anyway, me and the guys made weed brownies, and one of our first shows with merch was just weed brownies. We didn't have t-shirts or music or anything. We just had $5 weed brownies at our merch table. And I heard later from somebody who bought one that they didn't work at all. So we didn't even make them well. Yeah, that was like the earliest Joyce Manor merch was weed brownies that I got from that just horrific night.
You're going to be DJing in Long Beach.
Yeah, I've been DJing around Long Beach. It's fun. I that was just out of I've been asked a handful of times. I got a couple friends that own bars here and stuff, and they're asked me to like DJ some show or something they have going on. Like a friend of mine had like a anniversary party for his bar. He's like, dude, do you want to DJ? Like, because we're always talking about music and stuff, and I always just have said no. Like I don't do it because I didn't know how. Like I didn't know how to DJ. I don't know how to use a turntable, but I don't know how to use two of them at once. And I just decided that I was going to figure it out. Like I've been working on my confidence. Just like, you know what? And so I figured it out. I went by the bar before they opened, and he showed me how it works. It's really easy. And then I DJ'd that my friend's bar's anniversary party, and it was a lot of fun. I only fucked up twice. One time I changed the record that I was playing. I went to change it and just fucking like literal record scratch moment. Like took the needle off the record that I was playing, and everyone turned and looked at me. And I was like, "Fuck!" Like this is why I didn't want to do this, you know. And then I tried to put the needle on a couple times, like this was like awful sounding, you know. And I was like, "Fuck, oh fuck!" And I just put it on a new record, and everyone was like, "It's okay, dude." Like it wasn't that noticeable. It's like it was fucking really, really noticeable.
Some nice friends.
Yeah, totally. And then I DJ'd again a couple nights ago, and I didn't fuck up at all. And it was great. Like, people were dancing and shit. I noticed I need to get more drum machine music. I have a lot of guitar music, like a lot of power pop and proto punk and early punk shit. A lot of '60s stuff, and that stuff's great. It's my favorite music. But once I played like Madonna and like New Order, like people were way into it. But yeah, it's free drinks, it's fun, it gets me out of the house, and yeah, get to play records. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's just it's a new thing for me. So
looking to 40 ounce to Fresno and looking to like the 6 months ahead, and is it getting back into the tumble dryer of the kind of campaign? How does it feel?
It's my least favorite part. I don't like doing interviews. I don't like talking about it. I just would rather not talk about the process, or I just kind of feel like it taints it in a way. Like it's like it's trying to take the magic out of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think you should see how the sausage is made. Just like enjoy the sausage. Like. But this is you got to do this shit, and like this is part of the job. It's a great fucking job. The rest of it is like fucking free drinks and playing electric guitar and hanging out with your friends. It's like the easiest, most fun, rewarding job on earth. And like getting to like write songs and connect to your spirituality as a songwriter and stuff like that is priceless. I love getting off work. I'm looking forward to getting a job again at some point. I love getting off work. Like that's like the best feeling. Like being at work kind of sucks sometimes, but getting off work, fuck, that's a good feeling.
There's a word for it, a German word, Feierabend, and that means finish work, have a beer.
Dude, That's what, yeah, fire, yeah. I'm gonna get that fucking tattooed on my forehead, man. That's my favorite shit.
Just to end with, and thanks so much for your time. What's the next job? You know, when you got some downtime talking about that, looking forward to getting some fire happened. Like what,
Yeah.
anything in mind, anything you've walked past in your town recently?
I would really like to try being a barista. I worked at Starbucks and I actually fucking like loved it. It was really fun. Me and Todd from Toys Kill and Isaac opened a bar in San Pedro that I'll probably work at.
Amazing. What's that called?
The Sardine. It's Isaac and Todd mostly. I put in some money and I was more involved around the beginning, and it became very clear that like they got this. Like, you know, I got busy with Joyce Manor stuff and they're crushing it. Like it's such a cool place. And actually our first show back from the pandemic, we did a secret show there and it was just super fun. And so I'll probably end up bartending there. But maybe I would like to try coffee. I like coffee hours and I like coffee, and I'll probably get over it and then get fired and then go on tour.
The idea of having loads of jobs in your life is kind of attractive to me. Because you learn.
Oh, I've had a bunch. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
You learn different stuff. I want to learn different stuff in my life. That's exciting.
Exactly. And I'm a little bit like intimidated by stuff, but I'm trying to do more stuff that's intimidating, like learning how to DJ or something like that. So I might just end up picking up a couple little hustles, but 2 days a week at a coffee shop sounds kind of sick. Just to get that, what do you call it again?
Feierabend.
Feierabend.
Yeah.
Get that lunch, you know, get off work at 2 and just get a fucking burger and a beer.
That's
Looking forward to it.
Mate, thank you so much.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Giles. Later, man.
So there was Barry Johnson from Joyce Manor, whose new album, 40 Ounce to Fresno, is out now. It's totally brilliant, and you can listen to it 50 times in 2 hours. What's not to love? See you next week. Here's Sparrer.
I've been working all day for me mate on the side, running around like a blue-ass fly. I've been working all day for me mate. Every blink minute I've been on the go, up and down the ladder like a fiddler's elbow. I've been working all day for me mate.
This is a Mighty Moon Media podcast.